Greetings and welcome back to Patriot 6. Today I'm going to show you all the things that we can do with Polygons. Polygons is a very important tool in Microsoft Flight Simulator SDK. And today I'm going to walk through all the different things that we can use Polygons to do. Greetings and welcome to Patriot 6. I make tutorial videos for scenery building or modifications to scenery in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 utilizing SDK. Different people at different levels of skill see these videos. You may be here because you're curious, or you may already know the basics of scenery building. It is impossible for me to know who will click on a video. Because of the broad range of folks that view the videos, I include the basics in each video. This and all new videos will be built in chapters. You can find the chapters of the video in the description below. In addition, you can see the chapters on the video timeline if you want to skip the basic chapters. To build scenery in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, you must be in developer's mode. And this is a very simple process, and I'll walk through it. First, you go to Options. Go to General Options, you go to Developers, On, Apply and Save. Once in Developers mode, you will see a menu appear at the top. I refer to this often as the Developers menu. In addition to being in Developers mode, you must have SDK, and this is a very simple process. You go up to the Developers menu, you find the Help, you tick on Help, and then you tick on SDK Installer Core, and a window will open up and SDK will load in. And from that point you can decide where you want the SDK. I'm going to tick off of this because I already have it. I put SDK on my C drive and I called the folder Msfs SDK, but you can place SDK where you want to place it. In addition to that, it's always good to go in and get the samples, and from the same help menu you want to go down to samples, and again you will download the samples. I'm going to stop it because I already have the samples. And once you download the samples, you can go into your SDK folder that you built, and you can find samples by ticking on the samples folder. And there's all kinds of samples here, but the one most often used is the one called Simple Scenery. Let's talk about the tools that we need to build scenery. In most projects, it's very simple. The items which you use to build scenery are typically in your scenery library already. There are exceptions though. If you are bringing a 3D model into the sim, that would be an exception. If you are using the Earth to Msfs tool, that is another exception. And on occasion, you may need a text editor. I will explain the reason for the text editor once I do a video where the text editor is needed. For starters, put a folder on your desktop that you will use as your working scenery folder. I have one here and I will show you what I have in it. All I have in it is the Simple Scenery folder I downloaded from SDK, and I do have a thumbnail. In the Simple Scenery folders that you download through this version of SDK, a thumbnail is not mandatory because there is a standard thumbnail within the scenery package. However, on all of my projects, I choose to have a thumbnail, and it's your choice where you want to go with the standard thumbnail in the scenery folder or if you want your own. If you decide you want to make your own thumbnail, the thumbnail has to be the precise dimensions of this thumbnail I use, 412 by 170 pixels. No other size will work. So if you build your own thumbnail, please keep this rule in mind. Let's talk about the developer camera. The developer camera is something that is vital and something that you will use often. And to get to the developer camera, you go up to the developer menu, tick on camera, and tick on developer camera. Operating the developer camera is a lot like operating the drone camera. So I'll show you the keys that we use to operate the developer camera. If we want to drop, we hit the F key. If we want to rise, we hit the R key. If we want to go left, we use the A key. And if we want to go right, we use the D key. If we want to go forward, we use the W key. And if we want to go in reverse, we use the S key. There's also some numerical keys that you can use. On the number pad, the 4 key will spin you, and the 6 key will spin you in the opposite direction. The 8 key will tilt your camera up, and the 2 key will tilt your camera down. Occasionally when you're building scenery, your azimuth will get off. So that's very easy to correct by using the 7 key or the 9 key. And then you can correct your azimuth. You can also use the mouse and freely move around. By holding down the left Alt key and by using your left mouse button, you're able to move anywhere you want to move. Also, you can use the mouse wheel to zoom in or out. Almost always, this is a process I go through. I'll tick on the developer camera. I will drop to the ground using the F key. Then I will use the left Alt key and the left mouse button to make sure I can spin in small areas. That is the fine control of the camera I'm looking for. What I don't want is this. You see what happened there? As soon as I got in and I used my mouse button to move, look how far I am from my aircraft. So again, to the developer camera, drop down with the F key, and with the left Alt key depressed and the left mouse button, make sure you can make minute movements. And now you're good to go and ready to use the developer camera. Okay, I'm at my start location. I am in developer's mode, and with my start location selected, I'm going to fly. Once everything loads in, the first thing I want to do is go up to the developer menu. I want to go up to options, and I'm going to pause the simulator. And now I can hit ready to fly. Even though it is not nighttime, for some reason I zoned in at night, so let's fix that. And I do recommend having live weather off so that you don't have to deal with weather. With the sim pause, the time change, the weather off, I am going up to the developer menu, camera, developer camera. And now that I'm in control, I'm going to go to my working scenery folder. And I'm going to the simple scenery folder, and I'm going to make a copy. And I'm going to paste the copy. And now I'm going to give this a different name. Patriot 6 Polygons Scene. And now I'll move this out of the way. And now I will go up to the developer menu, Tools, and open the project editor. Your inspector may or may not come up depending upon if you've been building scenery or if this is your first time. However, on the project editor, you can go to View and tick on Inspector. And now on the project editor, I'm going to Project, Open Project. I want to navigate to the working scenery folder. I want to navigate to the folder I'll be using for this work, and it's Patriot 6 Polygons Theme. I want to open it. I want to drop down to the first XML and open. And once it's open, I'm going to tick on the project. I do not want to be on my scene, marketplace data, or my model lib. I want to be on the package, and you'll know if you have it right if you have the information in the inspector. Now I'm going to give this a simple name. And now I'm going to put my company name in. And now I'm going to exchange the default thumbnail with my own thumbnail. This is optional. As long as you have a thumbnail in here, you're good. And once I tick on it, I just have to navigate to the proper folder. And here it is. And now the next step, I'm going to build the package. The dialog box will pop up saying modifications detected. That's good. You want to say yes. Once a package is built in the event, you notice errors. There are 4,032 errors. There's nothing you can do about that. It's something in the SDK. It does not seem to adversely affect anything, so I'm not going to worry about it, and you should not worry about it. And I'm going up to the developer menu, window, and tick off the console. And apparently I have to change the time of day again. No big deal. Once the package is built and the console is turned off, I want to go back to the project editor, drop down to My Scene BGL, back up to the inspector, and load in editor. And you patiently wait while all of your scenery library loads in. This could take a few minutes. While it is loading in, I will tell you this. You may not see objects, you may not see gizmo, and you may not see the material editor which popped up on my other window. You can get to all of these by the view on the scenery editor. You can tick gizmo and you can tick objects. And if you want to get rid of the material editor or have the material editor, you can go up to Tools and find Material Editor. I'm going to be using the material editor today, so I want it up. So let's build our first polygon. On the Objects menu, you want to change from Scenery to Polygon. On the Objects menu, you want to hit Add, and when you do, you will see an error down here in the Scenery Editor. Not to worry, because once you complete the polygon, the error goes away. So I'm going to hit Add. And the polygon, you may not be able to see it, but it's following my cursor around, a little red X. And I want to hold the left control key down, and I'm going to keep it down the entire time, and I'm going to use my left mouse button and tick. That set an anchor point, and now I'm going to use my left mouse button again and tick, and tick, and double click to complete the polygon. And the polygon is complete. And if you will look over on the scenery editor, you will see polygon is there. So I can actually hit the delete key right now and the polygon will disappear, and I'm going to do that. And that's how you make a polygon. So let's see what we can do with the polygon. Let's say I want to get rid of these buildings. Very simply, I'm going to add a polygon around the buildings. As I said before, start with Add on the Objects menu, and with the left control key down, use the left mouse button to draw your polygon. I double click, the polygon is complete. Now at this point, I'm going over to the scenery editor. I'm going to tick View and bring up Properties. Now if you get off of this polygon, it's not going to work. So let me tick off of it and show you. There's no properties now. You can click in the middle here and usually grab the polygon, or you can go over to the scenery editor and tick on polygon. And with the polygon ticked, I now have the properties. In this particular case, I'm going to exclude these buildings. So with the polygon ticked and the properties up, I'm going to the properties window, buildings, exclude all. And the buildings are now gone. Now there are limitations. There could be some locations you go to where it's been remodeled and you might not be successful in deleting buildings. But generally in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, the AI generated buildings are easy to remove. And in fact, you can remove some of the 3D photogrammetry should you choose to. So now this is called an exclusion polygon. We excluded buildings. Let's take a look at another exclusion polygon. And again, I'm going to build a polygon. And with the properties window up, I'm going down to vegetation. And I'm going to move the sliders all the way to the left. And now I have excluded trees. Excluding trees is probably the thing that you want to do most, because I know trees tend to generate around bridges, buildings, and it's the AI trying to interpret what it's seeing and generating models. It's not always accurate. So I'm going to delete this polygon. And the reason I'm going to delete it is because every now and then you'll see situations where the AI does not generate trees as you wish it would. And if you look at this area right here, you'll see there's trees. And there's even trees here, but the AI does not interpret them as trees, and therefore they're just a flat mesh on the ground. So let's add trees to make this look more natural. Again, with a polygon. And now with the polygon built, back to the properties menu and vegetation. And now you see that trees have popped in, and you can play around and get the scale and density that you want. Oh, let's just go big. And it doesn't have to be a big area. I'll take care of this small area here the same way, adding a polygon. You can be as precise as you want. I'm just doing this roughly here. As soon as I ticked on vegetation, the trees popped up. Now this can go on as long as you want it to go on. You can find a lot of areas. I see one right here where the trees are not filling in. So it's up to you. If it's maybe close to an airport or something that's important to you and you're doing a lot of VFR flying, it may be important and you may want to add the trees. It's up to you. Let's do something a little different here. So I'm going to add a material. Let's pretend this has been developed and we want concrete here. I'm going to make another polygon. Double click and the polygon's complete. Now let's bring the material editor over. And let's do a Sobo concrete, square 01 white. Now I have the material selected. On the properties window, I'm going to find material and just tick on it. And now it's added the concrete in. And if I wanted to place a building on here, I could. In fact, I'll do that real quick just to give you an idea. I'm going from polygon to scenery. Once in scenery, I'm going to tick all, and I'm just going to quickly find a generic building by typing building here in the objects, the search bar. Just grab a general building, and once I grab it, I'm going to hit add. And with the gizmo now, I'm in translate, and it allows me to move the building. But if I change the gizmo to rotate, I can then rotate the building. Back to translate, and we have a building. So now we used a polygon to remove trees, add material. I recently had a viewer reach out to me and say, can you do a video removing water from roads? I have not been able to find water over any roads. I've been looking. I've seen them in the past, but I can't remember where I've seen them. But in general, I'll show you how to remove water with a polygon. Let's build a polygon around this area, and I'm going to add my polygon. It doesn't even have to be perfect. It can just be rough. And once a polygon's added, on the properties menu, I want to go to water. I want to exclude water. And now it's just a matter of finding out what kind of water this is by ticking on each of these. It's just plain water. And now the water is gone. Let me show you the opposite. In real life, this is a man-made lake. The people that live here operate a boat skiing club, but you may notice the water is not there. So I'm going to fill in the water and make this look like what I recall seeing in real life. And of course I'm going to do it with a polygon. And with the polygon complete, I'm going to water on the properties menu. And I don't want ocean, so I'll just select a river. Now we have water where water really is. We've excluded water, we've added water, we've excluded buildings, we've excluded and added trees. We have used a polygon to make material for a base, and I believe that's everything I can think of to use a polygon for. Now where this will not work, for an example, if you have a bridge crossing a river and the bridge is below the water, which sometimes we see that in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, you're not going to be able to use a polygon to bring the bridge out. Yes, you can exclude the water around the bridge, but it's not going to look very good. Your best bet in that scenario is to add a bridge, and I completed a whole video on how to replace and add bridges, and I will pin that in the description below, along with the chapters to this video, so you can come back and skip around, do whatever you want. I believe that covers everything I can think of with polygons. If I've missed something and you want to know, you can just hit me in the comments. So let's complete the package. I do recommend saving the scenery quite often. I took a chance here. I've had situations where the power went off, or sometimes the simulator will crash in developer's mode if you're doing something really heavy. It's kind of smart to save often. I did not do that. I took a chance. But I'm going to save it now, and you go down to the scenery editor and save the scenery. And now once the scenery is saved, I want to go back to the project editor, and I want to get off of my scene, and I want to go up to the My Company Scenery Simple, and I want to see the information in the inspector again, and then I want to build the package. Once the package is built, I'm going back up to the developer menu, window, and remove the console. Everything's saved and built now, so I can take the tools off. And now we'll bring up the working scenery folder, and I will also bring up the community folder. In the working scenery folder, I want to go to the project I'm working on, and I want to open the folder. Go to packages, and here is the package My Company Scenery Simple. I want to copy that. And then I want to paste it in the community folder. And now I want to give this package a unique name. I'll use the same name I used for the scenery folder. So back up to this folder, I'm going to tick and copy the name. back to the community folder, and here's my company Scenery Simple, and I want to paste the name in. Now I know exactly what this folder is in my community folder. Now I'm going to restart the simulator to pick up the package. Okay, I'm back, and I've gone to the marketplace so I can bring up the content manager. And with the content manager up, I will just type in Patriot 6. And there you can see the polygon scene. So the project is loaded into the simulator. It is in my community folder. So let's go back to the location. I'm back at the location, but I'm still in developer's mode because I want to use a developer camera to look at what I have done. So over in the area, I can immediately see the concrete that I added with the polygon. I can see the water that I removed. I can see the trees that I added. And if I go down, you'll see the buildings are no longer there. All you have is a picture of the buildings on the mesh. And over at the Ski Nuts location on the interstate, you can see the water. So that is the things that you can use polygons for. And I thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments. I'm pretty good to check comments and answer questions. However, when questions are asked, sometimes there is confusion through the communication. It's often difficult to help people through the comment section. So I will pin the Patriot Six Scenery Group Facebook page in the description below. I do recommend you join the page, and then you can not only ask a question, you can upload a picture. And a picture is always better than words. I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. I've gotten lazy lately and not uploaded many videos because it's hard work. However, the channel continues to grow, and since the channel is growing, it's worthwhile for me to continue to put content up. I'm not one of these type of people that just overload the content for the sake of overloading it. I try to be helpful and put things up that I think will help people. So again, give me a like and a subscribe, and please join the Patriot Six Scenery Group Facebook page so that we can chat, share ideas, and answer questions you may have. And thank you for watching Patriot 6.